So today I wanted to talk about how awkward it gets when you start collecting diecast toys or diecast vehicles in the same scale. So I have here a Porsche, just a regular Hot Wheels standard size 164. If you don't know, we're talking about the relative size to the actual car. So a 164 size car would be this relative to the actual real life vehicle. And this would be a 132, and notice it's a bigger scale, so it's closer to the size of the actual vehicle. The problem I have, or what I find really awkward after a while, is when you collect cars of the same scale. So here we have two cars which are 164 scale, and my Porsche is the same size as my fire truck. Now that just doesn't make any sense, because if this is this size relative to the actual Porsche in real life, then in real life this would be bigger than the Porsche, and then this toy at 164 scale should also be bigger than my toy Porsche. You see what I mean? It just starts to look so awkward when your fire trucks and trucks in general are the same size as your little two-door coupes, right? So the only real way to deal with this, if you're collecting and you want to put it on a display and you want it to look better, is that you need to start introducing different sizes and mixing and matching. So I have here my Jet, just as an example, which is a much larger scale than 164, but it matches with this car at a 164 scale. Now it looks a lot more natural. Now, if you were to buy a Jet, like a regular Hot Wheels or Matchbox plane, it would be about this big, which would just be very awkward. And you can kind of see here, I have my little dude sitting in the cockpit, right, dressed in black, and he would just about fit into my car. So I could fit my pilot into my car, and then this looks a lot better in terms of scale when you put the vehicles next to each other and you have them in the same display, or even if you're just playing, you know, it looks much better when this is flying over a car that's actually smaller, right? Because a Jet is larger than a car, especially a two-door coupe. So you have to really mix and match. So here's another example. I haven't opened this yet. I started to, and then I just got caught up in stuff. This is my Optimus Prime in a 124 scale. Now I have this unopened 124 scale taxi, right? And how weird is that? My taxi is the same size, or maybe even larger. I think it's a little bit longer than my truck. You know, that just doesn't make any sense. And they're both 124 scale. So if this is relative to the actual taxi at 124, and this is relative to the actual truck, well, Optimus Prime isn't an actual truck, but it's modeled after these 18-wheeler, tractor trailers. So this should be bigger. Shouldn't this be bigger, right? Because if you are a collector, I don't collect too many large vehicles. I only have 4 or 5 because of space. But if you are a collector of the 124 scale models and you have these next to each other, it just doesn't look right. So what you would really need to do is you would need to go down to the 132. So now we have the 132 and we have the 124, and this just makes a lot more sense, right? So this would haul a bunch of cars. If this was a car hauler, Optimus would be hauling a bunch of cars like this, stacked on top of each other, taking them to the dealership, right? Like we see in the real world, or in the movie, or in the cartoon. You never really see the awkwardness of two vehicles of different classes being the same size, even in a phony cartoon or film, right? You just never see this. So it just, it's always something that's bothered me. It's a little bit awkward. It's a little bit weird. And I wonder, why they don't try to make it accurate. I've always thought about it in the back of my head, and I never really had a chance to share it with anyone. So I thought I'd share it on YouTube with whoever's watching. So I'll probably do a full unboxing of this. I started at some point in another video. I got a lot of stuff that I really need to show you guys. But that's all for now.